This past couple of weeks, Sungrand Studios, you know, the guy who popped off last year for his critiques of Concord, calling himself a pro designer or whatever. These past couple of weeks, he's been catching a little bit of flack for his takes regarding the Nintendo Switch 2. You can see him featured in some of these Fratanga Plays thumbnails. Gotta say, I'm not too surprised people were ripping on Sungrand. One of the only clips of his Nintendo content I've seen is this.
I worked hard my entire life so I could also make games for people. There were people in the industry that I wanted to work side by side with, so I could say, I am here. Let's make something beautiful for other people. But the world kept moving. The world kept changing. And by the time I was able to make commercial games, someone I wanted to work alongside with left us.
Okay, a bit loopy, but you might say, oh, it's sweet in its own way. Perhaps until I tell you that this is a video about how Iwata would not approve of people being angry at Nintendo's prices.
If Nintendo does not increase their prices to keep up with inflation, the way the rest of the world is doing, then the quality of the products will be worse. I understand you feel resentful, but there was a man who I know would not want you to feel that way.
And I bet you current Nintendo corpos definitely don't want consumers to be mad at their pricing either. Genius level insight from an industry insider. This is deranged stuff, and he was always going to get some backlash and mockery. But Sungrand tells us all is not as it seems. There's a reason his videos have been this way. Well, there are 3 reasons. He's explained it 3 different ways at this point. His first narrative was a few days ago. In the video, something bad happened, I should have told you about it sooner. In this video, he explains, and I am not messing with you. He's had multiple people die who he cares about. He has a friend who is currently dying of cancer. And he can't be too harsh on Nintendo, because that would bring in negativity, and he can't have that when he needs to be strong and calm for his friend. I'll provide a quote to illustrate this, but you should watch the whole thing yourself. It is surreal.
And I'm sitting with a friend, and I always accepted death is going to happen. That's a problem. You know, that's everyone dies. And I never really feared it. But I'm sitting with my friend dying of cancer, and this is the first time in my life where I've seen the fear in someone's eyes. And he's in his 80s. And he's terrified. He hasn't talked to anyone about it, but he's talking to me about it. And he's just terrified. He's so scared of it. And this is the first time I've seen just fear like this. How do I bring him a sense of calm? How do I bring him reassurance and a sense of comfort? And that is my priority, is trying to make him feel better at some point. And so this is where I am at personally. And this attitude is affecting all of my videos. In my videos, I wanted to tell you guys 2 weeks ago that I need to step away from videos where I am offering critique. I need to step away from videos that have any kind of negativity in them, because my priority in life right now is to bring a sense of calm and stability to other people. And I wanted to tell you guys a couple weeks ago, but it's too difficult. It's very difficult to talk about this stuff. It sucks. Nobody wants to hear the stuff. Nobody wants to say it. And so that is why my Nintendo Switch videos have not been negative.
Pretty sickening, in my opinion. Sorry your friend's dying of cancer, but this is vile. And as long as we're sharing personal stories around grief and death, let me share one too. There was this one time I was kind of wilding out in a store. I was freaking out. I was grabbing stuff. I was making loud noises. And someone told me off. Said they didn't like it. My response? Because I didn't like being talked to like that and I wanted an out? Well, my dad just died. So I understand the instinct, Gerald. I understand the impulse. And I'm sure just like my father's death, your friend dying is real. But I was pulling that shit when I was 4 years old. And this guy makes it perfectly clear that what he's trying to do is guilt trip people.
I'm receiving so much personal harassment. I try to respond to comments because I want to let people know that I care about what they have to say. But I'm just receiving so many personal attacks from people that are saying, you're this word, you're that word. I'm unsubscribing because you're not attacking Nintendo. So this is why I have been so positive in my videos. This is why I've been so positive about Nintendo and its pricing and the Nintendo Switch.
You trolls think I'm a retard? Well, I had to say those things because my friend's dying. Don't you feel bad now? Come on, man. He caps off his video with this statement that he's just a little guy. He's just a little man. He doesn't know what he's doing.
I'm not a YouTuber. I mean, I do not understand. I don't know how else I'm supposed to explain this. I'm just some guy. So I'm not going to do things the way a YouTuber would. I'm just a guy. I just want to share some of my adventure with you.
Excuse me, what? My man has 126k subs, not too important these days, but he has published almost 1,000 videos. He has his own gimmick, his own style. Textbook YouTuber. But perhaps he means professionally. He's a game dev after all, like he says in this video.
My games have to be done. That's how I earn money.
Okay, Gerald, let's see how you make your money. If you want to get your hands on this masterpiece, I believe it's a Nintendo Switch exclusive and it costs £17.99. I wonder if this has anything to do with his view on Nintendo and game prices. Surely not. Now, if you think I've been going too hard on this guy, don't worry. Apparently, none of this was real. He recently uploaded another explanation for the way he's been behaving. This now privated video was called "Goodbye, It's Over." Its description read, "The internet just turned on the only industry professional actively and publicly fighting against anti-consumer malpractice and championing pro-gamer and pro-integrity policies. The last few weeks has just shown the games industry they have no reason to listen to hate mobs online who have focused on spreading lies and outright ignoring facts and information. This unfortunate response has depleted the credibility of any online movement claiming to fight for pro-gamer and anti-consumer policies." He also pinned a comment underneath which read, "This situation is entirely my fault and no one else's. I believed entirely in you all. I understand now I was wrong. To be clear, content creators that I have been connected to over the past year have kept posting content based on lies and outrage, which affects my credibility as well." Who's he talking about there? Funny little nugget of information. He uploaded a video today called "Thank You Hypnotic, Smash JT, Dark Titan Enterprises, keep going." Just sucking them and other people off. Talking about how it felt like they were a team posting videos together. I'd show you a clip, but I didn't download it before it went private. Anyway, back to his pinned comment. "I've put myself at immense risk and danger by fighting for gamers publicly, by going head-to-head directly with these big companies and fighting them on your behalf. I don't know of anyone else in the industry who would be willing to accept that risk and consequence of openly fighting major companies and anti-consumer policies. I really wanted to believe in you all. The videos on this channel will be strictly fun, educational, or entertaining moving forward." Incredible, he is simultaneously
I'm just some guy.
and apparently the greatest hero to ever exist. In this video, Sungrand explains that all of these videos were actually a special way of sending a signal to the industry.
Now, when the announcement for the Switch 2 was launched, things were not going well. There were many negative reactions online, and I posted a number of videos that were not just literal. They were prompts. They were prompts for you to share your feedback so the industry could see how you feel and how you respond to certain subjects.
It's the real explanation this time, guys. He wasn't doing it because of his dying friend. No, that was just a joke. I don't know. He was giving you the chance to talk directly to the ghost of Satoru Iwata, and you ruined it by being such negative Nancy's in his comment section.
So moving forward, I will not be addressing any industry topics whatsoever, because I can't anymore. You destroyed our credibility. Great work.
And what's even worse is that people were, slandering him.
But people were slandering me for a time period, and not a single content creator stood up in my defense.
Oh, so this is all about clout, you might be thinking. But no, he makes it clear. He said many times he doesn't care about attention. This is not about him wanting more people to lick his ass. It's about the industry.
Not a single content creator stood up in my defense. Now, what does that show the industry?
I've never seen something so shameless. But to be fair, he does in this video take some of the blame. He does take some accountability.
This is entirely my fault. This is not your fault. This is entirely my fault because I believed in you. I believed you had the maturity and the intelligence to understand what I was telling you.
Look, full disclosure, I didn't vibe with this guy from the second I set eyes on him. You can say that means there's bias here, but if you're still trying to say this is normal at this point, I don't know what to tell you. Well, that's not true. I know exactly what to tell you. He privated that video, and uploaded a third different explanation for what was happening. It's called, "Hey, what is up with the tone in your recent videos?" In it, he explains that this whole thing, these whole last 2 weeks, were a prank, a social experiment perhaps. He was trying to get rid of the haters by making them really angry so they'd unsubscribe. This is because he really cares about you. He knows people come to his videos for calmness and relaxation, and the haters ruin it. So he needs to get rid of them for you.
Over the past few months, I've been noticing more and more people, and I've lost count of all the people that are saying that their week is tough, they just have such a tough work week, and that my channel is something they look forward to. My channel brings them positivity, but there was a problem. Because of the content that I was creating in regards to the games industry, it was bringing in a lot of subscribers who were ruining that vibe. What I knew was I had to somehow get a lot of people to unsubscribe from my channel, and I wasn't exactly sure how to do that. But when the topic of the Nintendo Switch 2 came up, I saw the opportunity to create content with very deliberate phrasing. Basically, what I've been doing with my videos over the past 2 weeks or so is I've been using phrasing, language, and tone that I knew would upset people who want to push negativity onto other people.
Reason 1. My friend is dying of cancer, and other friends have recently died of cancer. I need to stay calm and strong for the people around me, so I can't be negative. Reason 2. I made these videos as a way to send a signal to the industry. They were an opportunity for you to sound off, and then Nintendo would see it, and you failed the test. Reason 3. This whole thing was 4D chess. I did it to get the bad people to unsubscribe for the benefit of the good people who don't want them around. Because of course, when you make someone who leaves nasty comments really angry, they leave. Genius. You know, I'm starting to think our friend Gerald of Sungrand Studios might have a bit of a lying problem. And given this context, it calls into question some of his already suspect videos. Like the one from 11 days ago. I just fought a guy trying to stab people in a shopping center.
So this video is not a joke. There's no punchline here. It's not funny.
Sorry, actually, it's really, really funny because you green screened in a greengrocer.
And I'm watching from a distance. I see him go around the corner. He comes back, and now he's holding a screwdriver. And now he's screaming. He's looking around. He's trying to stab people. And so that's when I stepped in, and I picked up a chair, and I was just holding it, and I'm watching him approaching people, and I'm getting in between him and people, and I've got the chair, and I'm getting ready to, once he tries to strike, then I'll put the chair between the kid and the person, and he won't be able to reach anyone.
My man was gonna perfect parry the retard with a screwdriver. It could have happened. At this point, bro, I need to see footage. The story gets better though. While there is a guy trying to stab people with a screwdriver, and he is the one keeping people safe with a chair, ready to perfect parry, he says this happened.
And then some genius comes up to me and then pushes me, takes the chair to my hand, and he's trying to say, "Hey, cut it out, man. You're going to make him hate you."
What?
Now I'm having to fight two people with mental issues because now he's mad at me and he's pushing me, and I'm the one that's stopping this kid from stabbing people. I'm the only one that's stopping this kid from stabbing people.
Dear audience, does this remind you of any other situation? Can you see the allegory clear as day?
I'm not irritated at the kid that had the issues. I'm irritated about the moron that thinks that he knew better and that reckoned that he knew better than everyone else and he could de-escalate when he was making things worse. Sounds like an analogy for the games industry, isn't it? It's very, very fitting for the situation. Anyway, have a good day. That's my afternoon.
Now, remember I mentioned those Fritanga Plays videos? The ones where he shits on, amongst other people, Sungrand Studios. Well, Sungrand definitely knows about them, and they are the hate he was talking about. We know this because he said under his most recent video explaining his spastic behavior, "I've spent the past few weeks trying to make those people mad at me so they would unsubscribe. I wasn't doing a good enough job at it until luckily someone told me a YouTuber named Frittato or something made videos and sent a hate mob after me." This video, where he talks about how much of a hero he is, as far as I can tell, was uploaded a few hours after the first Fritanga video that shit on him. Given his already established pattern of, "Oh, you're mad at me? You think I suck? Well, look how good I am," I have to say I find this really suspicious. And there's one other thing I find quite suspicious that I want to bring up. Sungrand has said that a lot of people around him have died of cancer or are dying of cancer. This in itself I don't find too suspect. It does appear to be true that he hangs out with a lot of really old people. But he does like to use that quite a lot. As we saw, it was one of his explanations for why he had to be nice to Nintendo. But did you know that he did a similar thing 2 years ago with a different friend who died of cancer? In a video called Why I Did It, he alleges he was receiving insults for working on Wii U and 3DS games still, and guilts those people with his dead cancer friend.
People kept asking me why. I've received insult after insult, of people calling me stupid for making games for these final consoles, and I don't really take offense to that. People say many different things for many different reasons, but mostly people are asking, why did you do this? Why are you making games for these old consoles when you're not going to make a lot of money out of it? And so today I'd like to share with you my reasoning. I want to tell you, just on a personal level, a person-to-person, why I did it. About 7 years ago, I lost someone very important to me in a brutal and unfair way. There was health issues and cancer and hospital and treatments and all those sorts of things.
Why am I so attached to these Nintendo products? My friend died. Sound familiar? It's like when you're in school and you get caught playing hooky. My grandma died. What, your fifth one? Like I said though, the stories could be real, but how he used it is pretty sick to me, and that he uses it as a stock response creeps me out. The other thing I wanted to show you that I find a bit suspect is this. Woke crowd kicked me out of volunteering at the cancer hospital. There are some issues on its face if you watch it. The story isn't very clear about exactly what happened, but let me use a couple quotes to put it in a nutshell.
So the reason why a lot of my games, or all my games, are quite small right now is over the past year, I've been volunteering at a local cancer hospital. I sit in the sort of the public area and I just play, traditional music, just something that's easy to listen to. And so I had been volunteering at the cancer hospital for about a year, and then these woke neo-feminists came in and assumed control and exerted their power in a way that made the environment unpleasant and unmanageable. And so I was pushed out of that environment because I would not bend the knee.
So the story in that video is, his games are small because he volunteers to help the poor children with music. But the feminists have now kicked him out. But he's told a very similar story to this before. Last year, he ran a Kickstarter that failed. While that Kickstarter was running, he made a video called I Regret My Kickstarter Campaign, a heartfelt real talk, Breath of Thunder. You're gonna love this version of the cancer hospital volunteer story.
So, to get to the title of the video, I regret starting this Kickstarter campaign. And the reason being is that it takes a significant amount of time and personal sacrifice to be able to run a Kickstarter campaign. I will be the first to admit that I don't think I'm a great Kickstarter campaign runner. That's not where my expertise is. That's not where my strengths lie. And one of the sacrifices that I've had to make in order to run this Kickstarter campaign, I think has gone too far. So once a week, I volunteer at a cancer hospital and I play music for people there. I play the violin with a friend. He plays the banjo, and then sometimes I'll play the piano afterwards. And it just brightens up people's day. It puts a smile on their face. And in order to run this Kickstarter campaign, I have had to step away from that, along with other personal things in my life.
So Gerald, are your games small because you do volunteer work and that means you don't have time to make bigger games, and the feminists kicked you out? Perfect story for your new anti-woke fanbase. Or is the story you told a few months ago the true one, where you quit volunteering to work on those games? You can try and say, earlier in the year you quit to work on the games, but then you went back to volunteering and then the feminists kicked you out. I don't buy it. Things aren't adding up. He ran another failed Kickstarter that went until June that year for a different game. He was also apparently preparing for an Indiegogo for something. But if he went back to the hospital after June, now he was no longer running a Kickstarter, so he'd have time again. That's just a couple months after a huge break he chose to take.
And so I had been volunteering at the cancer hospital for about a year, and then these woke neo-feminists came in.
This guy is a gigantic bullshitter, taking advantage of a ton of people's benefit of the doubt. If you still enjoy watching him, cool. I just think you should know that you can't trust a word this guy fucking says.